My name is Jordan Lynn. I'm the Player Experience Manager for Deep Silver Volition, the company that makes the Saints Row franchise. And I'm here at GDC talking about catastrophic user experience failures.
So let's start by talking about where you guys search for inspiration when it comes to Saints Row gameplay.
Okay. Normally, I do evaluative research on our titles. My job is to take all of the insane ideas that our design team comes up with and running them through a rigorous scientific process to validate the designs work, that they are functional, and that players can enjoy them without frustration or confusion.
What are some of the ideas that actually get nixed, considering the ones that we've seen in the game?
The ideas that you've seen in the game are absolutely insane. The ideas that get nixed are generally those that we feel that players aren't going to understand, ideas or jokes that may have been too niche for a wide appeal audience, or content that I'm not allowed to discuss because it might show up in a future title.
When it comes to the process, talk a little about how you guys, through QA and testing, kind of discover that people actually play games differently than maybe you guys actually thought they would play them.
Absolutely. Quality assurance does an amazing job assuring us the game is not broken. My job is taking the player's actual experience and the designer's intent and finding anything that's located in the space between. So identify areas of confusion and frustration. I bring players in for earlier in the development cycle. I'll bring them in for short 15-minute tests of a specific feature. For instance, in Saints Row the Third, we tested the VTOL jet because that was a new feature for us. We tested it individually by itself with one-at-a-time play tests where testers come in, they play with it for a few minutes, then they tell us about it. They tell us what they like, what they don't like, and we observe their behavior. Then later on in the development process, with such a large environment in Saints Row the Third, we take a group of 8 people and simultaneously over a week run them through 40 hours of gameplay so that they can experience the entire plot, they can experience all of the narrative and all of the open world craziness that we have in the game, and we see what barriers they run into. There are some missions where players may die more frequently than others. There are some missions where no one will die and we hoped it would be a challenge. There's some missions where players simply don't understand where to go and have navigation errors. So we also take a look at the back end. We have a telemetry server running that allows us to record player behavior digitally. So I can tell no one is using grenades. Why not? And do we need to adjust for that information? Too many people are using the pistols. Why? Are they overpowered? Are the other guns unimpressive? And then I take that feedback to the team to allow them to make the most informed decisions about their design.
When it comes to the most recent game, talk a little about the most recent DLC and how you guys work with adding new content to the franchise.
Okay. Our content developers have very specific plans for how they want to get things into the game and whether or not they fit within the worlds we've created. So we have teams that put together a list of features and ideas that they want to put into the game, and then they start working on that list from a functionality standpoint. They get things into the game. We try to make sure that they are absolutely functional and understandable and that they fit within the world. Saints Row 4 had a Christmas DLC, I believe was our most recent one, a Christmas-themed DLC that riffs on a great deal of satire from A Christmas Carol and a variety of Christmas movies, and we satirize everything about the Christmas holidays, and we make sure that the humor fits within the tone of the Saints Row world while still maintaining the same integrity of gameplay.
When it comes to that gameplay, talk a little about where the ideas come from for some of these more outlandish vehicles and elements in this game franchise.
Some of those ideas come directly from our brilliant and talented design staff. We have a lot of great creatives on our projects, and for the most part, from what I've seen, the gloves come off. They're allowed to, anything is acceptable to propose. And so the team decides within itself whether or not an idea is both acceptable and is worthy of being in the Saints Row franchise. From my perspective, I generally just evaluate the content that they've already decided has been a good enough fit for the world. So I evaluate for functionality once they've already made the creative decision of what to put in the game.
For an open world experience, how do you personally like to play through it?
Personally, I get very, very distracted by anything shiny. So I got about half an hour into Saints Row 4 before I started noticing there were shiny little clusters off in the distance, and I spent several hours chasing all of them down. It may have ruined my life for a very short period of time.